or our best NKVD source in years, ended up with a bullet in the brain? Alan raised his bushy eyebrows. I did not wish to attract attention. You see, we don't want the whole world to know that the Crown has something to do with this. I understand the need for discretion, Major, Rachel interrupted. There were a lot of ex-colonials like Alan in the service, infuriatingly dense regarding aspects of intelligence work that did not involve torpedo boats or sword canes. You were right to call me. I will talk to him. But it was too late. A red-faced maitre d' stepped up and lifted a handkerchief. Kulagin and Shaw Asquith tightened their grips on their weapons, eyes fixed on the wet white cloth. Alan rocked back and forth on his heels, as if he was watching a cricket match. We will just have to see what happens this round. Fair play and all that, eh? Rachel swore under her breath. Her mouth was dry and her stomach tingled. This must be how the field operatives whose reports she pored over felt when they had to make lightning decisions. She grabbed Alan's arm. Fair play can wait. Delay them. I need a few minutes. But what shall I say? Anything. Inspect his wound. Make sure his weapon is loaded, whatever it takes, and make sure you tell me before they start again, no matter what. Move, man! She used her sharpest tone. It triggered some military reflex in Alan, who nodded stiffly and waved at the maitre d', making a show about inspecting Kulagin's wound. In his thick brown coat and hat, he looked like a sparrow amongst hawks. Groans and boos sounded from Shaw Asquith's side of the audience. In the commotion, Rachel stepped behind a large rosebush and took her ectophone from her handbag. She shook out the headphone wire and screwed a black rubber bud tight into her left ear. Then she pressed one of the 4 preset buttons on the Bakelite device. It hummed in her hands as it heated up. She bent over to shield it from the rain and hoped the temperamental machine had stayed dry. A hissing noise was followed by the high-pitched, familiar wailing of the newly dead, sure to gather around any transmitter. And then she had a connection. "Registry clerk on duty," a thin male voice said in her ear. Beyond the rosebush, there was more booing and jeering. "Authorization F361. "Go ahead, Mrs. White," said the spirit clerk. "I need whatever we have on Julian Shaw Asquith, right now." She spelled the name out carefully. "Any leverage? It's urgent. And what kind of poetry does he write?" "Searching now. Please wait." It would take the spirit only instants to thought travel to the registry in Summerland and locate the information in the etheric stacks. Something that would have taken her hours when she joined the Secret Intelligence Service as a junior clerk at the end of the war, when everything was still on paper. Even so, the wait felt like an eternity. Her gut clenched every time a raindrop bounced off a rosebush leaf. It was a relief when the ghostly voice returned. "We do not have much. Mr. Shaw Asquith belongs to what the magazines colourfully call the Cursed Coterie, a group of high-born and glamorous young men and ladies. He has engaged in some indiscretions, including an affair with Lady Juliana Manners." "That's no use. What about the poetry?" Suddenly, she heard the voice of the maitre d' again. "Gentlemen, take your positions, please." What was that idiot Alan doing? "Fashionable, Russian-influenced, depressing, traces of Pushkin, although I'm no expert. O hell of ships and cities, hell of men like me, fatal second Helen, why must I follow thee?" Pushkin, Russian tragic romance. That would have to do. Rachel yanked the earbud out, stuffed the ectophone into her handbag, and ran back towards the duelling field. Kulagin and Shaw Asquith stood ready, eyes fixed once again on the white cloth in the maitre d's hand. She elbowed her way through the crowd, tore off her coat, tossed her drenched hat away, and shook out her dark hair. The handkerchief fell. The 2 pistols rose in unison. Rachel screamed and lunged forwards into the line of fire. The gunshots echoed in quick succession, rapid and metallic, like 2 keystrokes of a giant typewriter. A bullet buzzed past her cheek. Another struck a flagstone near her feet, leaving a smell of crushed rock in the air. She slipped on the wet surface and nearly fell. "Madam, please, get out of the way!" Shaw Asquith's voice was shrill. Rachel ignored him and ran towards Kulagin, who stared at her.